Hi, welcome to another episode of Silver Fox Scotland, and bad news again for John Swinney. He's been boasting about the attainment gap and how the SNP are the only party in Britain trying to close the attainment gap between the richest and poorest pupils, and it's all turned to dust. The gap between the richest and poorest pupils in Scotland's school leavers is greater than ever. Figures recently released yesterday in fact. Labour said it was a bad reflection and another broken promise by the SNP. Well, absolutely. Stats released by the Scottish Government themselves, so you can guarantee these will have been heavily massaged in favour of them, show that 38% of youngsters who left school in 2023-24 are now in university. This is up by only 1 percentage point on the year before. However, those receiving free education in Scottish universities are down 5%. Not good though, is it? However, the gap between the richest and the poorest going to schools, or further education, my apologies, is growing. 24.6% of attendees were from Scotland's 20% of Scotland's most deprived areas. 60% from the least deprived. A gap of 34.7% it is. The gap last year was at 32.5, so it's actually not gone down, it's gone up by nearly 2%. And this is, of course, the percentage by which he wanted to be measured. Well, John, we have. You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting massively. When things get worse, despite your promises to make them better, it means either you didn't do something and the downward trajectory continued, or you tried your best and your best wasn't good enough. Now, if it's the first one, then what's the point of you being there? Pointless. And if it's your second one, then you're actually worse than useless, and you're better off going. Certainly the youngsters of Scotland are better off seeing you gone. It is just horrendously bad. This direction is not only downward, but continuing, and it has from day one of the SNP taking control. When looked at in the round, over the last, getting on for 20 years, an entire generation, if you will, of school leavers, some of those school leavers, when the first year SNP took control, are now watching their children, going into school. And they're going to have no hope, are they? There's going to be no hope of any kind of improvement. Pam Duncan-Glancy, the Labour education spokesman, for those who don't know, she's the woman in the wheelchair. Actually, a very clever woman, must be said. But then, it doesn't take much to be cleverer than the SNP, to be fair. But she actually does. She has quite a sharp mind. To put it bluntly, the body may be broken, but the mind is, very good. But she said 10 years ago, the SNP said closing the attainment gap was its defining mission, and Swinney was the man to do it. But this now shows that those lies are in tatters, as figures show the poorest pupils are still being failed at a greater rate. And then, of course, you've got Gilruth, the idiot, coming out and saying, trying to put the positive spin, to polishing the turd. She said, overall figures are about people going into further education are at a near record high. The increase among those in higher education and further education is hugely encouraging and a testament to the hard work. Yes, that's general, but what she's not highlighting is the fact that those from richer backgrounds making up a bigger proportion of those in further education than those from poorer backgrounds. Now, that's only to be expected, but you would expect it really to be somewhere in the region of 2/3, 1/3. That would be a reasonable expectation if you were to improve things to a point where it could be seen as acceptable. But when it's not 2-1 and not even 3-1, then things are bad and getting worse. So, they keep spinning it, they keep bullshitting it. But if you're a young person in Scotland wanting a further education, you need to be born to rich parents. It's as simple as that. Thanks a lot. Bye.